The Supreme Court, the arbiter of everything legal and illegal in America, is all set to take up the issue of gay marriage, but it won't happen until April at the earliest. And that currently silent Supreme Court is causing a crisis of sorts in Alabama for same-sex marriage opponents and proponents alike. A federal judge in that state, previously booted from the bench for refusing to remove a replica of the Ten Commandments, has issued an order forbidding judges from issuing marriage licenses to gay couples. Licenses that were all set to be issued starting today. Now human rights campaigners are fighting back, calling the order a pathetic last-ditch attempt. And the Supremes themselves didn't waste much time Monday morning getting into the fray. We have Newsmax TV's John Bachman. He's sitting ringside right now with a lot more in-depth on this fight. John?
Well, Ed, one thing is for certain, neither side is ready to go down without a fight in this battle over same-sex marriage. Alabama has now become the 37th state to legalize it in effect. Same-sex marriage, people are in fact getting married there thanks to the Supreme Court refusing to honor that request from the state of Alabama to block those marriages. Today, the Supreme Court chose not to act on a request from Alabama's Attorney General Luther Strange that would have put gay marriages on hold until SCOTUS does rule. Again, we expect that sometime in April, maybe even in June. Specifically, Alabama's AG had asked the U.S. Supreme Court to stop last month's ruling by a federal appeals court judge in Atlanta, which effectively said these marriages could go ahead, by saying she would wait from a decision from the Supreme Court. Everybody's waiting for the Supreme Court on this one, but late last night, or everybody except Alabama's Chief Justice Roy Moore, he attempted to throw up that 11-hour roadblock for same-sex couples. And here is specifically what that order said. Effectively, immediately, no probate judge of the state of Alabama, nor any agent or employee of Alabama probate judge shall issue or recognize a marriage license that is inconsistent with the Alabama Constitution. He also says that any judge who decides to issue same-sex licenses could face consequences from Governor Robert Bentley. Well, the governor had asked for more time from the federal courts before anything further happened, so everybody wants more time here. Moore argues, though, that Alabama's judges aren't bound by the federal appeals court ruling from last month. Here's what he said. Of course, we know Justice Moore, has stirred up controversy with this latest ruling. The Alabama branch of the Civil Liberties Union called the move grandstanding. The Southern Poverty Law Center has filed an ethics complaint against Moore. Others have accused him of furthering his own agenda instead of following the actual law here. And you might remember Roy Moore, who was also previously removed from the bench for refusing to replace a replica of the Ten Commandments from his courtroom in 2003. That has not hurt him, though, at all in the state of Alabama. Voters have re-elected him, and that's certainly playing a key role in this debate right now.
We've given up our righteousness for a life of indulgent sin. When abortion is no longer called murder, when sodomy is deemed right, then good is now called evil.
Well, Moore is also well known for his election day tradition of riding his horse to the polls to vote. On the other side of the debate, though, we have Alabama's only openly gay legislator, Representative Patricia Todd, who's laid down the gauntlet on politicians who say they're against same-sex marriage because of, quote, family values.
That I'm going to call them out. And I'm willing to jeopardize my political campaign to do it. This is the fight of our life. This is why I ran for office. I'm not a politician. I'm an activist.
So there's the opposing view. Todd says some of the colleagues in the Alabama State House are hypocritical, and she promises to expose their extramarital affairs. So that should get interesting right there. As for what's happening right now, many couples have already obtained their marriage licenses today. Some got married right away. And as we mentioned, April is when the U.S. Supreme Court will start to hear the argument on these cases, specifically relating to Michigan, Kentucky, Ohio, and Tennessee. We do expect that high court ruling by June 13th or sometime in that ballpark. Now, if the court does allow these states to keep their bans, you could expect Alabama certainly to follow suit and reinstate their own state ban. Ed?
Well, the ACLU has already filed a lawsuit against him at one time. That was back in 1995 with the whole Ten Commandments issue. So I tend to think that he's almost welcoming it at this point.
Oh, yeah, certainly. He's happy to fight this battle on behalf of Alabama.
But I think it was interesting that he got a real quick rebuke right away from the Supreme Court, who immediately came back and said, nope, sorry, we're not backing you on this. So I have a feeling that he's going to have to back down come April in Alabama, now the 37th state to allow gay marriage in America. John?
And a real test here, Ed, too, for those who use the states' rights as their argument against same-sex marriage. We'll see what happens if that holds up or not.
We're going to see. I imagine that the judge is talking to his lawyers right now, even as we speak. John Bachman, always a pleasure. Thanks, John.
My pleasure, Ed.
All right, second hour here on MidPoint. The former mayor of New York City, has a direct idea on how to keep young minorities safer. But maybe he's missing the real point about who needs to be kept safe from criminals. It's all about guns and social media. That's right here when MidPoint continues.